weather is coming, like really bad weather coming, but it's not supposedly here yet. The other thing I found out, Sean, was yesterday when I tried to use this iPad in the car.
Yeah.
It doesn't have cell capability. It's Wi-Fi only.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are live.
Okay.
I mean, we're supposed to be. Let me see what this says. It's going to be like, yeah, see? Hey, see? I told you there's people saying hi.
Teehee, you're right. Saying something to them in the chat. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like super, super bad weather.
Oh, here it goes.
Hey, Moxie. How are y'all doing?
How is everybody doing that had weather? I know there's been some weather. I've looked at if people in Houston, it wrecked Houston.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
and was it an F5 or?
No, it was just bad storms.
They say, is it F5 is the worst? They call that the hand of God, right?
Yeah, no, they have these movies out where they have like F6. That would be the.
But like in the storm, hey, so there were people here. Hey, Kathleen.
It doesn't look so bad on my end.
Susan, welcome to the block party. Okay. So I know there's like stuff popping off everywhere. You are totally allowed to just vent in the chat.
Oh, thank you, Susan.
Even if we don't talk about it, you go for it. This is your chat platform to talk about it all.
There's goings on, but we don't. There's some of the goings on that we have to stay away from, and
we don't watch it
because unless you want to see us throw up.
Hey, this girl's journey and here for the mess. Chicklets, it's good to see you guys. Ladies, have you ever been putting your mascara or your eyeliner on and you're like, oh, this is looking good, and then all of a sudden you just poke yourself in the eye? Have you ever done that? Yeah.
Chicklets is one of those. Chicklets is one. I appreciate Chicklets because she's one of those people that won't hesitate to go, y'all talking about that will make me throw up.
Yeah. The screenshots I've seen of the comment section over there is what's truly hilarious. Like, people are like, you're a fucking weirdo, man. Yeah. Anyway, so, there's Stormy. We never get to show Storm.
Oh, here's the oldest animal in the house right here.
I'm gonna show you. This is Stormy.
She is like, what the hell? She just looked back at me like, dude, help me out.
This is Stormy.
Dude, help me out.
Those of you who remember when I was with the boardroom, do you remember when Stormy was a little bitty kitten?
I do.
And she would, yeah, you do. And she would purr by the laptop because that was all she did when she was the baby is purr. And everybody was like, ATX has a dildo vibrating. I'm like, no, it's my cat.
And to put some perspective into that.
And I was like, what if I did?
To put some perspective on it, she's almost 6.5 years old now. So that was a long time ago. I was
like, it's like I was like, I'm coming to get my cat. I want my cat.
Yeah. Right, Moxie. The cat. She picked the cat up. The cat looked at me like, bro.
He was like, "Do you see this? She never comes over here for me to pick her up.
I don't want nothing to do with this."
So you guys, remember I said Sawyer wasn't feeling well? We literally keep every blanket and everything out of his reach because he will chew a hole in it and eat the material, and he can do it before we even catch him. And if he doesn't have a blanket, we've caught him. Hey, Yorkshire. That's why I was like, we're gonna catch our UK people and our overseas.
It's early enough today.
And so about a month ago, he chewed a hole in the armchair trying to get a piece of material. So what I did was I had to pick something. I went online and looked. I had to pick something he was guaranteed to eat, and I put olive oil in it. Not a ton, but put olive oil in it. So it was a little bit of wet cat food and some olive oil.
Cat food's got a ton of salt, and he's not really supposed to eat that, but
thank you.
There was a reason.
And he took about 3 bowel movements. I didn't study them, but he's been feeling better. We just have to make sure he can't get a hold of any material.
See,
Dutch, yes, Dorothy.
As intelligent as some dogs are, some animals will eat something. It'll make them sick. They'll eat it again. And you'd think after, they can put 2 and 2 together, he will continue to eat that stuff. We have to keep it out of his reach.
Here for the mess. It's same old, same old. It's the same shit show, different day. That's what we were talking about. But yeah, so the Dorothy is Dutch.
Oh, cool.
Sean said that he has a hilarious voicemail message where someone today he was like, don't tell the name, but what they said.
So I get a voicemail from a
very cool What
from
was
a
his
very
name? Mercer.
yeah. Do you guys know who Roy D. Mercer is? My name is Roy Mercer. Well, that's what this guy
Yes.
sounds like. This is one of my ex coworkers, and he gave me a voicemail. He left me a voicemail today that was kind of like, "I'm just letting you know that I almost had a Sean Kirley moment on what someone today. Told him to get the fuck out." It was
Because
one of those.
y'all know he's told you the stories when people start getting stupid and he gives them a warning and then he's like,
Well,
"Now
you
can
look
get the
you look
fuck
for
out."
there's certain things that will allow you to, flip the script. Like when you're doing customer service, especially the post office, because the mail is so screwed up, it's still screwed up. Like it's the new normal. Like when you go out to eat or when you're doing something, service is slow, and they still say it was kind of from COVID, but it's just the new normal. And you listen to it and you listen to it, and then all of a sudden they mistake your patience and your understanding for weakness, and then they go over the edge. Like they throw, like in my case, he was going off, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I got you. And then someone threw a piece of paper at me, like this is my bills, and as soon as you do that, I was like, oh, I'm allowed to tell this guy to fuck all the way off
I was super
now.
impressed that Sean just kept it very simple and was like,
I'm
now you
allowed.
know.
I said, oh, you did me a favor by you cussing at me or you throwing that paper at me. I can now take the lock off my mouth and I can say kind of what I want to say to you, and then I'm going to throw your ass the fuck out. And so that was the voicemail that I got was, saying that they did that this morning.
It was so funny. I knew that it was probably something about that because people will update him occasionally about the current status or whatever. But let me tell you something. The mail out of Atlanta is not getting any better.
No.
I never buy those cards that play music and shit. You know what I'm talking about? But they had the cutest card for Mother's Day that opened up. Some of you might have seen it. And it talked about how, mothers are fiercely protective like lions, how they're, protective of their young like bears. And it played a song. And so we put six stamps on the
Six
shit.
stamps on it.
6 stamps on it.
Yeah.
Handed it to the mailman, and it's been what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it hadn't gotten.
It's been well a whole
Hey, Mama Ricky.
about 10 days. It was 10 days ago. There's no reason.
Let me see here. Yeah, like I said, man, y'all just kind of throw down in the chat. It's totally okay for y'all to.
Yeah,
even if
it's
we don't.
like I said, this is a kind of like almost like a pop-up live. We weren't really sure when and how we were going to do this, but we have a full weekend, so we wanted to just come on and so you guys just have at it. We'll talk about
Chicklets, you're the best. She said, I do have rays shining down on me. Isn't that, it's cool. I'm kind of digging it. Okay, so.
Reachable says, just got here. I'm working today. Sean, I feel so bad for you and Mandy to have to go through this time. Like I said, y'all can voice your opinions here. We may not address it too much, but it's okay.
Sean's been outside with the chickens. I was getting ready. You were out there for a while. I started to think.
Well, I cleaned the top real quick. I put new hay in the top of the little coop. I let the teenagers out. They were in. Cleaned the top coop, and then I gathered the eggs. It was 12 of them. Oh, very cool. There's still a couple more that have to lay, so.
I had told you guys that I'm going to start, when we do get a note with PayPal that can be read, I'm going to read it. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, right now, I don't even have the app installed on the iPad. So I am going to, I do have one to read. I am going to probably have to read it next time. Mm-hmm. But I do see them. Mm-hmm. Unless it came to my... Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like, I hear it's quite a bucket of monkeys over there.
Keely, no, you didn't get blocked. And she said that I just get blocked. I see you. I see the comment.
We don't. There's people that are blocked know that they're blocked. We try to keep it very light and carefree. But you know what? I'm going to give up looking for it right now. But it was a cool message in the fact that it's someone who stood up for themselves in the message. And I liked it. So I will get to that.
I remember it if you want me to paraphrase or no.
Oh, no, I found it. It's in the email. Mm-hmm. So it's from Sin. Sin, she's our bud. We don't care what anybody else thinks. And y'all are very welcoming of her in the chat, She kind of took it in the shorts from Randy. But anyways, this is what she sent with her with her donation. Just wanted to show you a little love. You're the only ones who didn't throw me away because of Randy, Wendy, and Diane's lies. And I'll always remember it. Thank you so much. It means the world to me.
And it means a lot to us too.
And it doesn't matter how that note would have come in. I would have still read it out loud. It doesn't matter that it was attached to it.
Right.
But yeah, very cool.
And I'll add this to that. I know that we are on here doing whatever we do, but I do have kind of, sort of, Mandy may not agree as much with me, but that's okay. I mean, we all have things that fill our lives with, but I do think that a little bit of our purpose for our channel, being here and being around it, is a place for people to go that have been, I can't stand when I see somebody that's been supportive in someone else's channel and platform for as long as, some people have been, and to watch them just get, it's not even being shown the door, or it's not being told, like we've had issues with people, and, it comes out. But when you just execute somebody and treat them a certain way, all in the name of drama on their channel, I like to stick up for them. I don't care who the fuck the channel is. I'll be like, that was fucked up what they did.
Hey, Tina. Yeah, you're right.
Because there's a lot of channels that don't do that, or they're like, well, I'm staying out of that because they just don't want to get into it with somebody, or they, we're not like that. We will, because we ain't scared.
Yep.
That's all.
Keely, it's cool to see you here. She's been around for a while, and she is over here. That's good to see you. She said she was in there earlier trying to defend Sean. She's a miserable bitch, I think she meant. And that was another one that started over there that really tried to be supportive, and it just, she got, not Randy over with the beast, and she is.
It must have been
Come
bad.
up here, Keely, over. I don't.
Dorothy says, I salute you for not responding. Look, Mandy can tell you, I have sort of a new gig that I've been doing. It's like a little bit of a contracting gig, not like federal. I have been immersed myself in it. I don't know what's been said the last 3 or 4 days. And it's been what? When did we? So today is Saturday. That we went live a couple days ago, but I mean, we've only had like 1 or 2 lives in the last couple.
Yeah, we have
weeks,
not
so
so
it-
much
yeah.
like been here or whatever. That's sweet of you to say. Mama Ricky's like, I'm blocked over there. Mama Ricky's probably been blocked since.
I can tell guys, how things are going by what you guys say, and not only in the chat, but if it's on X, if it's on Twitter. I called it X, damn it. People, some of you guys DM me, some of you guys, and anyway, I can tell just by the responses, because half the people, I don't really block, but there's like 5 people that I blocked, and I blocked them because they're part of that situation, including her. But all the responses, I can tell when the ebb and flow. I can certainly tell. And that's, I don't have to know. I don't have to know what is exactly being said, because I don't want to. And
Yeah. Chicklets brings up a good point.
what?
What did we think of Baby Tragic's 911 call? So those
Yeah,
of you
let's
who
give
don't know,
that.
there was a 911 call that was released. Someone had called the fire department and reported that there was smoke coming out the back door of the attic, which is Negs's resale shop over there where they live. And so they got it. It was Al played it. I mean, a lot of people have played it. I have
played
it, but I haven't.
You haven't. It hasn't
So
been, yeah.
the person, it's quite obvious that it's tragic. I think that because maybe he called the non-emergency 911 number, he thought maybe it wouldn't be recorded. I don't know. But he said that there was smoke coming out the back door of this store. They don't have a back door.
They don't have a back door.
So that's number one. And you can, there's a few places you can listen to it. I was going to upload it. I haven't done it yet, but I think Al has it.
Yeah.
She had played it or whatever. That is fucking remarkable. I cannot believe to the extent that that little group goes to fuck with people. And it's dumb shit that they're going to get caught doing.
I think that one of the things that we've realized is that Tragic is sort of making his worth, trying to show his value by doing stuff like that, stuff that people were doing 8 years ago. Sam is happy to have you do that for her because that's
Right.
another whole ball of wax going on right now. But she's happy to have somebody, and she always finds somebody to do that stuff. They get exposed. She says, "Oh, we didn't give," But Tragic seems to be hedging his bet on doing stuff like that, and that doesn't like be careful because we'll do this, and all that does is make him. I mean, he's a grown ass man, right? I thought
Supposedly.
all the way grown up, not like a 18-year-old. And pardon it, any 18-year-olds that are in here, but we've been here, done that. This whole community is like, yeah. And so there's that you did it and that it happened and that it's a real shitty thing to do. It's not slick. But the other thing is, yeah, you can't do this shit without getting caught either.
Yeah, that's
the main thing.
that's
the main thing. I mean, it's like everyone else that has ever been involved in anything like this just like doesn't get caught.
They at least have a fighting chance of suggesting it's not them.
Right.
And this one was a little bit,
And that's the thing. And so everybody, anyone that's ever, because this just kind of rippled is like, hey, that YouTuber over there, Tragic, he did this. And everybody in all these communities were like, it's kind of like being a Kennedy and out cheating. It's like, you got caught. Mm-hmm. You got caught cheating.
And most of the Kennedy wives are like, I accept that you're going to cheat.
You're going to
cheat.
Just
don't get caught.
I mean, it's like, we know that this is the type of person that he is, that he does that because he's done it to a lot of people. But now it got exposed. It got put on blast. So anyway.
Yeah, no, you're good. I'm just going to post a little thing in the, what will happen with that though? They can figure out who it was, right? Sean knows when he hears that because he used to watch Emergency, guys. There was a few things they sent, right?
Yeah, so when you listen to it, you can actually hear the beeping in the background as they call dispatch, as they dispatch. Like anyone that's ever watched Emergency, ma, ba, 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 it is big, whatever the call is and the length of it is how big it is. You could hear the beeps and the beeps and bonks.
That's
as
what
they
I'm saying.
Actually spun up a vehicle. They actually spent the money.
And it's not a big town. So they don't have a bunch of them to spare.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But they actually, spent the man hours dispatching with the people who have to man that vehicle, the gas, the wear and tear on the EMS vehicle that they dispatched, all for what?
Yeah.
Let's say that nobody ever found out who did it. It'd be like, that's lame. Yeah. That's lame.
I'm sure they can find out who did it.
But even if they didn't, even if it's like, hey, someone called a fire truck to Neggs's business, it's like, that's lame. That's fucking lame. That's what you're thinking. And then you go through your list of people who would do shit like that. And then someone was like, oh yeah, listen to this voice. Yeah. It's one of them.
And we started listening to it and I was like, oh God. You know what I mean? Yep. I was like, wow, that is unbelievable. Not even a voice changer.
No.
My man didn't even use a voice changer.
Who was it? Somebody commented that he actually commented on it. That's the
Did he admitted to it or something?
Said it was AI or something like that. And that's number 3. That's the third strike, because if you get accused of something like that, don't make a comment about it.
We'll leave the chat up after the chat.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like we know people do stuff and then
he denies it, okay.
And then they put it out into the community. But if it's really not you don't have to comment on it.
And the thing is like when it came out and it was obviously him, the reaction is kind of like, well, of course it's him. You know what I mean? Right. Of course he would do it. It's not even exciting. It's just
like, of course he was, because that's what he advertises.
Right.
He comes on Twitter, AK, 2016, 2014, like, we're going to make their life miserable. It's like, yeah, we've all said that and done that. You have to find a different community.
Hey, Donna,
that's not used to it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Donna, I haven't seen it yet, but I will look. There's a couple I need to go in and look at. I think I saw it pop through, and I will definitely read it and get back to you. That one got held, but it's like, she's a skank.
Okay. That's
Keely,
okay.
right?
We can let that go.
Keely kept it short and sweet. She's like, she's a skank.
it's like, that's right. Skank.
So it's cloudy in Florida.
I wonder if there's actually like a very rare animal called a skank.
I want to know where it came from. I bet Urban Dictionary.
If you take the U out and put the A out and put U in there, it's skunk.
Let's look at
It's
where
probably
it
like
came
the
from.
combination of stank and hoe and trash or something like that.
Exactly.
It's like a
Well,
combination of words.
So according to the dictionary, let's see how they say it. No, I don't want to turn it up. So it's the derogatory, but it's informal. Okay, you guys. So don't put it in a legal document. It says a disreputable or sleazy person. That's putting it nicely, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just in
Urban
general.
Dictionary is like, and if you're we were talking about people that speak multiple languages.
Mm-hmm.
One of the convenience stores that we go to, there's a fella that speaks like 3 or 4 languages.
Yeah, he does. He
He
speaks
speaks like 3 or 4
anybody
languages.
that
and
comes in there of a different language. It seems like
he's
he's
speaking
speaking
Spanish, English. He's
I've heard him speak German.
German, Dutch. And so when people walk into retail and they see some guy that has come from another country to run a business, those motherfuckers are
Oh, yeah.
9 times out of 10 more educated than the average American.
Exactly.
I mean,
I think he studied in England. I think.
yep.
In that where he went to an.
Well, you can tell when he's speaking English. He's got or when he has a British accent to his English.
Yeah. Aziz, is that what you think is funny? Aziz is laughing.
Well, I mean, it's true though. I mean, it's so true. Somebody comes in and I'm talking to him and he's talking to me in English, and the guy behind me, he just talks in Spanish, and then someone that's at the cooler, he speaks a different language. I'm like, 90% of America, I don't know, that might be a little high, but I don't know, only speak one language. 75, 3 out of 4 of us.
And
speak
some of
one
us don't
language.
even do good with
And
that.
we don't even, and I've thought about all that, because what is skank? So if you're reading like chats with all the slang that's in it,
Aziz's school is important. No, I got you.
with all the slang, they're like, excuse me, what does
Missy.
skank mean? It's like, well,
And there's people that don't like.
if you go to the English dictionary and look up skank, it's probably not there. But if you go to Urban Dictionary, you'll find it.
I think I used the term right like that. I think I said skank about someone like to your parents. It was on the news or something, and I don't think either one of them had ever heard it.
Had heard skank.
And I was like,
There's
you've
a
never
bunch
heard
of
it?
words.
And it was the same thing. What does it mean? Well, it's a skank.
Yeah. What is the word that I had to actually? It was a combination of 2 words. Remember when people used to say it's on fleek? Remember that? It was
Yeah.
like, man, that is on fleek.
Especially
And it's
like eyebrows. That
what?
became a thing with eyebrows.
Your eyebrows
On
is on
fleek.
fleek. Your hair is on fleek. And there's other stuff like
There are certain terms that become popular in social media that I feel like we're too old to even like use. You know what I mean? For them to. But there's a couple of people that stream ever so often over there, and that they use all the new terminology, and it just sounds silly.
there's a word that I'm thinking of when something's really cool. It's not
Dope?
like, no, it's like no, not dope. It's a word, and it combines 2 words. It's 2 words for like something that's really cool or this or that. Anyway, it'll come up. And you hear it and you're like,
Let me
wow.
see. Where's Jude? Donna said, "Thank you, Jude, for acknowledging this." Did I miss something? Maybe she's talking about something else. I hope I didn't miss a comment.
I had somebody one time at work tell me, all right, come on over here. I'm going to put you on game. And
Yeah.
I was like, put me on game. He's like, that means let you know what the deal is.
I would be like, yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah, I
have
was
any
like-
idea.
Like, put me on game. And he's like, yeah, that just means I'm going to tell you everything that's going on so you understand it.
Oh, Dorothy.
like-
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I've never even heard it. Most of them I've even at least heard.
Putting you on blast means we're going to.
got that.
Yeah, that one. Trill.
Trill.
They do it for the trill. What does trill mean? It's thrill and something else.
I don't know.
Trill. Look up trill. TRILL. I'll do that.
Dorothy says they got to have more than one language in school. Aziz said school is important, Sean.
I know. And most of I mean, I was born in Oklahoma. I've lived all over the country. I spent 3 years,
Booker.
Aziz, I spent 3 years in Germany. 3. And I can say like, wo ist der Bahnhof, which means where's the bus station?
Well, that's pretty.
I know Rex, it means right.
Where's the beer? Where's the bar?
Yeah, wo ist die, whatever.
That's the beer. Where's the bar?
No, I said whatever.
No, but where is like? I mean, I'm sure you asked where the closest bar was.
Like when I'm at work, and when I was at work, and people that are German, ascent come in, and they're like, oh, and I see what they're mailing to. I said I was blah blah blah, and when they leave, they say choose, which means see you later.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You retained that.
Yeah.
To remember that.
Yep.
Kim Sawyer. Everybody wants to see you.
Or Avitazane means like see
That's
you
from
later.
The Sound of Music.
Yep. Avitazane.
Yeah. Isn't that from Sound of Music? That term? I do believe it is. The cockatiels, right? Ask Sawyer if you can pick him up so you can show him.
Hold on.
Wait, hold on.
Here we go.
Oh, Bonhoff is a transition, Sean.
Trill in the dictionary is a wavering vibratory, a rapid alternation of sung or played notes. But trill in the Urban Dictionary is an adjective used in hip hop culture to describe someone who is considered to be well respected.
Oh, well, there you go.
I do it for the trill.
So Diddy's not trill.
Not anymore.
Come here, baby.
Oh, it comes from the combination of the words true and real.
His ears smell sour. We got to give him
I know, but it's a lot better than.
He said, y'all, don't eat blankets. It's rough on the
whatever y'all do.
tummy.
I don't know
eat
if
the
you guys have
blankets.
ever eaten a blanket or a
I
pillow.
love you. They
Sawyer's
were worried
but
about
don't do
you.
it.
They were worried about you. Say hi. Look at him. He always has this look like, what?
And I think he's a little jealous. He was like, you picked Storm up, and she doesn't even like it.
Yeah.
I was the second choice.
So
But yeah, I mean, getting back to the drama for a minute, that there isn't a single person that was surprised at who did that. Like if all of a sudden,
tragic?
if there was a 911 call or a non-emergency call, and you heard Mandy's voice, there's some people that would be surprised because they've convinced that she's something. But most people would go, oh shit.
No.
When you catch somebody or where someone gets discovered doing something like that, and it goes to like the channels that put it on blast, like Owl, who streams everybody's shit, or whatever, or Kiwi Farms drops it or something. When someone gets caught doing something like that, that's a gotcha moment. It really is a gotcha moment, but not in this case.
No.
Not in this case.
Because
Everyone
like I
is
said, it's
oh,
like, yeah, it's tragic.
yeah.
And AK will be like, you can't prove that. You can't prove that it was tragic.
You can't prove anything, but we can't prove it, but we heard it.
And I bet
because it's sloppy and it's
she's
messy.
She's probably saying she's gonna take someone to court.
Yeah.
You keep accusing Tragic and he's gonna take you to court.
Yeah. AK's over there we're gonna sue everybody, and Tragic's like, no,
we don't want to sue.
No, we don't want to. Not right now. Let's rein
That's
that
what
in
I'm
for a
saying,
minute.
Moxie. It's just tragic. I mean, it's like whatever. That's why when we kind of whatever happened with that, that informal acquaintanceship went south, we were like, it was no big. It wasn't no big thing because it was look at this is who the three of them are who we were dealing with.
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
they
what I
are
mean?
really like they're like low level thugs.
Yeah,
They're like low level thugs. That like they'll do whatever for for $10 or whatever.
exactly.
They're just trying to get by. But the other thing that some people, I've seen it, we've been told that, and I don't know, we've never experienced it directly, but there are people that say that Tragic will just arbitrarily send them like a Cash App request or a Venmo request or something.
And here's
like with no reason, just like, can you help?
And let me tell you why this is interesting. I have a neighbor who had someone that was visiting, and their debit card wasn't working, and she said, well, then if you would just send me you can send it to Cash App or Venmo, whatever, and I have a card and I'll go take it out and give you the cash. Oh, okay. Well, then the reasons were the reasons, but then a few days later they send her a Cash App request just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, like,
and
what are you supposed to do with that?
And she goes, I don't know why they just randomly sent it. And I'm like, because they got a habit defeat.
Because
now,
well,
what's
yeah,
interesting,
they need money.
They want to see who's gonna
Yep.
if one person will reply to it, it saves them having to lower themselves to ask for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they can just go, oh, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to send it. But if you can get a few people to answer it, you know what I mean? It's like that. Rosalita, I'm here to show my support. It's sick and sinful how the beast lies. She's going to hell. What a bad person. And the thing is that Rosalita also was over there for, I mean, these people know. It's just, it's constant. But then we get some really cool friends who come into our chat that found us through that. So for that,
Yep. Well, there are people that come to this chat that have found us through that a lot and other things. And when they don't feel comfortable in other chats, they'll come over here and because they feel more comfortable over here because we don't have other people's videos up and stuff, and we're not, we won't get struck.
and there's people though that have messaged me that are like, I would come into the chat, but I don't know if people like me and I don't want to. And I'm like, I can honestly tell you that there's only a couple of people that the people in my chat, our chat, would attack or even say anything to. We have a good group that will greet you if you're new. You know what I'm saying? Like and we certainly wouldn't let anyone get, even if old Hillbilly Wonder over there came in here. Like
Hillbilly
she's
Wonder?
blocked, but Randy came in here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't attack her. She'd say what she'd say and I threw her out. But you know what I mean? Stitching always says like, she never liked you in the beginning. You're like, there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that did the group that I had would call friends. A lot of them don't like us, and they don't like me anymore because they don't like her. And we could take that a little bit further. Mandy and I are not the type of chat that is going to drop a friend just because they're maligned by a bunch of other people. It just doesn't work that way for us.
Right.
When they're like, why are you friends with this person? It says, well, because we have developed a friendship, whether it's like talking on the phone with them or whatever. That transcends what happens here. And there's a lot of people that make their decisions based on, like they don't want to be seen with around a certain person because the rest of the community, doesn't like them, or they did something to make them not as popular. That will always come back to bite you in the ass, because you'll be like, if you're one of those people, you'll be changing alliances all the time, because that's what happens in drama. And you see the people that do that. We get asked about, why are you so friendly with this person, or why are you this person?
Hey,
and it's
Susan.
like, because they've always been good to us, and we've had a friendship back and forth, and that's how we roll. We know that two people might be beefing over there in another person. Someone might not like somebody else or whatever. Both of those people are welcome to come over here.
Right.
It's just, yeah.
I'm laughing at the thing. Like I said, y'all go to town. I'm reading some hilarious things, and I'm like, I did drop a little link in here to a little short, right? That y'all might want to check out. It shines a lot of light on the psychosis and the absolute, when you add what you're going to see with mental illness, you're going to see what you see. But so I dropped that link. Chicklets, thank you. The reason I like y'all is because you cover the news and talk about what's going on, but you aren't vile. It doesn't hurt my head to listen to you. I like Al too. Y'all aren't vile. Al's not hard to listen to. The one thing that she will say is she works alone. She doesn't really have alliances with anybody. She may talk nice about you or support you, or not support, but have like whatever. But then the next day she'll just fucking annihilate you. It's just how she rolls.
It's not even an issue. One of the characteristics of Al that if you've been around long enough is and sometimes some things get said intentionally because we know this about her, she loves to report the drama. She can't stand being talked about. She can't stand being the drama. But hey, she's gonna have to deal with that she's really easy to trigger. It's a lot like Yaba. Yeah. Yaba can say and do what she wants to do, but she gets like over the top offended if other people, if all of a sudden she's being talked about. Owl's the same way.
Yeah. It's just like I said, but when she gets pissed off, she has some pretty epic posts that she puts on Twitter. They make me chuckle.
Like Leg Lamp says, Al can't take any heat at all. It's true.
And that's okay, Al.
That's okay.
That's okay.
If you stay high enough, then you don't have to. But
oh, look, Aziz is talking Dorothy's Dutch language.
Someone else in the chat, tell me what he's saying.
Is Nikki Tutorials Dutch, or is she I think she is Dutch. Yeah, she's Dutch.
I was about 54 years old, which is today years old. Two things I did not know about Nikki Tutorial. Number one, I did not know that she transitioned. But if
Totally
I
cool
had known the
chick.
first that she's 6'3", then that would have given me a clue. Had no idea.
I had
And
no
I don't
idea
care. I mean,
until she had to out it
yep,
because they were going to do it for
because they were
her.
going to out it. Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea. And but I'll tell you what, it made me respect her even more after that because she was like,
Hmm.
it was something that I went through. It was something that I did. It's something that I decided.
Hmm.
And I became who I truly was. I don't see why I had to tell everybody that. If
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
want
true.
to be a voice for this, for
Hmm.
transitioning, then why was I obligated to tell everyone that when I was 18 or whatever, 16, whenever she had the surgery,
Hmm.
that I had a surgery to become who I truly was? I don't owe
No,
anybody that.
she doesn't.
And
It's
so,
very, very true.
and
But one
incidentally,
thing,
real quick, she is also the one that first started talking about what a bitch Ellen DeGeneres is because she
yeah,
went on there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, very cool. She's got a milestone. That looks
Thank you,
so cool to see
chicklets.
those in her.
Woohoo!
Anyway, go ahead.
I like that. I like that. It is hard for any woman to walk around 6'3". I don't say hard. It's just I won't say it's hard because if you're 6'3", it's been your whole life. You deal with it, but you stand out.
Hmm.
I mean, like a 6'3" woman is like a 7 foot man or a 6'10" man. You're
Right.
just going to draw attention,
Right.
and which is Mandy and I were always joking. He says, "Well, what if your daughter was 6'2"?" I'd be like, "She'd be dribbling a basketball by the time she could walk." That's for sure.
Sean always asks people when they're tall. He's like, "Oh," and like if they start talking, they strike up a conversation. He's like, "Did you play basketball?" And most of the time, they did.
Dorothy says the Netherlands was very early with the gender stuff.
Right.
Okay.
There's a movie called what is it called? The Dutch Woman. Y'all, someone is gonna know. The
Yeah.
very first surgery that they tried, and this person, um, it was the Dutch girl, right? The Dutch girl. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm asking, someone will tell me. I know Chicklet is like, no sports. It anyway, they did the first surgery, the first male to female transition, and
Mhm.
allowed them to do, I mean, because it didn't work. But it laid the groundwork for the later surgeries or whatever. It was a good movie. It was a real good movie. Gonna end up
She said, "And you're
see
going to end up
Missy.
being hunchback." Missy, is it hunchback because they're tall? Because men can be very tall and not
Yeah.
develop the hunchback.
Yeah.
And really, I see more short people, and maybe they're shorter because they when they got older. But I wonder if that's a gender thing. If you're tall, I don't know.
I don't know
There are
either.
dudes out there. If you ever watch the NBA or just look it up, there are males out there that are 7'4".
Really?
And they show up, and like you're watching a basketball game, and you'll see because you see a lot of athletes out there that are like from 6'8" to 7 foot. A lot of NBA players. I mean, the average is like 6'8".
That's
And like
incredible.
if you're 6 foot, it used to be when I was growing up in the 80s, 6'4" was pretty tall, and like you had point guards that were like 6 foot, and if you're my height, 6'4", you better be able to shoot the lights out or be able to handle the ball very well at
Why?
6'4".
Because
There's
you're not tall enough?
because there's 6'4" and 6'5"
That
point guards
can.
that are point guards.
Okay.
You know,
I've seen though some pretty short people that can, like you said, can shoot a basket better than the tall people.
Chicklets says Sean hasn't given us our Mavericks update yet.
Do they
Chicklets.
play
They
tonight?
play tonight at 8. They can finish off OKC. They're up 3 games to 2. The game is in Dallas. If Dallas wins today, they move on to the finals
Mhm.
against the winner of the Denver Minnesota series. So yeah, there's your update. If they lose, it's 3 games apiece, and they'll play a game 7 in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
So
Okay. Hold on one second, you guys. Oh, we're here. Don't worry. We're back. Presley. Y'all keep
yep,
Presley
I see him. I see her.
in your thoughts because she's not feeling well. She's got a lot going on right now. A lot.
Yeah.
Okay. The
And
reason it plugged for a second was I had to, when you sign into something and it says you have to on your other device say it's you, that's what was going on. We didn't get kicked. Um, I hope y'all checked out that short. and enjoyed it because it's coming down. You're hearing it here first. I'm taking it down on my channel. Yeah. On my channel. Okay. So Aziz loves soccer. We've always known that. That's how he came into our chat.
Well, I think when Aziz came into our chat during World Cup, I think
that everyone at some point or another, all of our mods, past and present, have booted Aziz at one point or another, probably twice. Aziz, how many times have you been kicked out by people? You know what I mean?
And the thing is like Aziz stops messing with. That's the only reason he got booted.
He normally just like, well, yeah, that's pretty much it. But he also, Stitching's done it. He's been blocked everywhere. And then he's got a couple accounts, but he just waits. Because if he waits long enough, he'll be unblocked and he'll be back. He's actually a pretty cool dude. Yeah, Punch Monkey, I don't know what's going on with her. I saw a screenshot about that. I don't understand that Punch Monkey's supporting it and then not supporting it. And I'm like, just stay over there, man.
There's a lot of people
that's the best place for you to stay.
I mean, when you're over there watching that, I mean, I understand at some point people trying to have compassion.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But I always say when you've had enough, you'll leave for good. You know, but that's it. That's all I can say. I don't go in on people that try to support whatever they want to support. I don't, but you know, that's what I leave it at. It's like, well, they haven't had enough, like Seabreeze.
No, not at all, Donna. You're not playing sides at all. What?
No, you're not playing sides. But like Seabreeze will keeps going back and then getting not just, you know, she gets hammered by getting over there and it leaves and then comes back, leaves and comes back. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't understand I think some people just like to be recognized. Someone told me a long time ago that is the primary thing that people want is to be noticed and be connected to something.
Yeah.
Like that
true.
they're somewhere. Presley, I'm here for my dear friend Sean and Mandy. Thank you, Presley.
Yay.
2 months. If y'all are, you'll see that the videos are getting better. They're getting more edited and a little bit better and a little bit more behind the scenes. The last one, the first 30 seconds was hilarious.
Yeah, I when we first started doing members, I have to admit that I was a bit lazy. And I said, all right, you know, but Mandy, we learned how to do members streams. It's not just something you do. You get better at it as you go.
And I always say, I'm like, Sean, I can edit it if you'll be good about picking up your phone and taking some casual, like you'll notice that a lot of times, you know, I'm filming or whatever, or he's not in it. And I'm like, so I've asked him because probably that's the best thing. Like we can get both sides of it doing that. We're going to like film sometimes right before we go live. We'll take a little bit of stuff while we're getting ready to go live. People like that shit. You know what I mean? The other stuff is on our OnlyFans. If you want to find it, let me put in it. No, I'm just joking. Nobody wants to see our old asses.
OnlyFans has changed.
Thank you.
I mean, it really takes a unique person. You know, like when you're doing OnlyFans, it used to be that's what's the go-to. Like 5 years ago, everyone would go to it if they wanted to make some coins showing skin or whatever.
Yeah.
OnlyFans has put a lot of restrictions on stuff now.
They have, and also the people that were doing really, really well on it was primarily during COVID.
Yeah.
Primarily during COVID. I guess
it's true.
I can't say it's all men because that's being sexist. Men and women probably. They were like, I'm going to spend all of my stimulus money. Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Their stimulus money. They were like, my unemployment. I'm just going to subscribe to every single person I want to watch on OnlyFans.
I know. And I'm just going to stay home. I have $1,000 in stimulus money. I'm going to pick out 100 channels at $10 each, and I'm going to sit around and eat ramen noodles and watch OnlyFans for about until this is over. Because I want, you know.
See, they said they got grannies on OnlyFans now. I totally have heard that. Look, I'm joking when I say that we would do that. I mean, we probably think that we are the best thing in the entire world, but I don't know that anyone else would. There's
somebody. Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's. I mean, I have a front row seat. I don't need to watch it on OnlyFans.
I always say it like if you're like, you compliment, like the next day you're like, wow, that was stupendous. And I'm like, I know, I was there. And he was like, that's always a good thing when your spouse happens to be there, when you have a magnanimous event, right?
Yep. It's like,
Don't take that for granted.
I mean, did you see all the comments? I was like, fuck no, I passed out afterwards.
I know. I'm like,
I'm going to sleep.
I'm gathering my thoughts. In the beginning, and I'll leave it at this. He used to
Mandy
say, this
is
chick
like,
is going to kill me. Remember that?
Yeah.
Karen and Loretta think that's hilarious. Like, when we started dating and, and he was like, I go, so, and he goes, I used to think, oh my God, she's going to kill me.
Well, Mandy, can I tell him why?
I don't know.
No, okay. Mandy was like, I want you to be more assertive. I don't want to be the one, because when I am not an aggressive person. It's like I wait for.
And I didn't want to seem like a nympho, like
and
constantly.
The thing was,
I'm for real.
She was flirting with me first in text, and I wasn't getting it. So she said, "God damn, what if I was in that car?"
When we first got together or whatever, I was like, he's gonna think I'm some sort of like nympho or whatever.
Yeah.
And
so finally she said, I'd like for you to be a little more assertive. And I remember my first thought was, oh my God, this girl's going to kill me. She's going to kill me. She's going to be the death of me because,
And he didn't tell me that till later.
Yeah.
And I was like laughing so
So the
hard.
other thing is like, it'll be say a random day, since I'm around a lot more because, I'm not working a million hours a week.
Right.
And a lot of what I do is at night now. So, we'll have a bunch of stuff to do, and I'll say to Mandy, hey, you want to maybe,
Keely.
you want to get it in before? She goes, hell no, you'll go to sleep. We got too much to do, Sean.
Yeah, that is, I'm like, we can't take a nap now.
Tonight, it's fine, but we got way too much to do. Your ass will be knocked out afterwards. She's right,
It's true though. It's different with girls and guys. Girls want to paint the house, and guys want to go to sleep, right?
Presley, go ahead and get some sleep, girl.
I'm hoping they're putting her on something like one of the new meds for the virus. Yeah. It's still going around, you guys. That damn virus is still mutating and going around. I guess it'll be forever, just like the flu, right?
Yeah.
It'll be different.
And the thing is when you get something, since COVID has happened, you get the flu or whatever, and you're like, is it just the flu? I'm not supposed to be around a bunch of people if it's not just the flu. These home tests aren't 100% accurate. Every time you get a cough or you don't feel good, because when I got COVID, I was almost through COVID before I realized I had it. My worst days were behind me. I was dragging my ass everywhere. I felt horrible. I thought I had strep throat. Finally, I took a COVID test about the 6th day. And it's like, you have
because
COVID.
I was positive. So
and by 4 days later,
hey,
I was feeling better.
Yep.
And that's part of the slippery slope with COVID is you're walking around with it and don't even know you have it.
Yeah. Stitching, you're right. If you have any sort of flu, stay home.
It's true.
Don't spread it. Don't be a hero and go to work. Tell your boss you cannot.
And that is something that a lot of blue collar America doesn't understand, because there's a lot of jobs out there that you don't get sick days. If you don't go to work, you don't get paid, and you don't get paid, your family doesn't eat. I was in a job that I have, man, I left the job with it was something like 200 and some sick hours I left at that job.
Yeah.
All my vacation days from the post office, I get paid out. They pay me for that. Sick days, you lose them. And I had only taken eight sick hours, only one sick day. The rest of the times I was out, they scheduled them a different way.
It's insane how many sick hours he left behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Other people will, when they start seeing the exit door, whatever procedure they've been needing to have, they'll go ahead and have it and use their 100 days of, not 100 days, but 100 hours of sick leave.
If somebody,
and then give their notice.
If somebody is, and there's people that just we know who they are, people that have needed surgery at my old job, they would plan it. They could block out 6 weeks of sick leave.
Yep.
And they'd get paid.
Yep.
But there are also people that have gone out for, say, COVID or a routine procedure, and they get 5 days, and then 5 days they keep calling in and they keep using their sick days, and that's a regular paid day.
The one person literally hit her 90 days and then was out for foot surgery, ankles, and then came back and then was out again.
And so that's where a union doesn't
Oh.
help, because the union will get involved if you're like, you need to bring your ass to work. Well, I'm sick, and I'm saying, well, I need to prove this, you need to bring in all this documentation. Well, the union will say, no, you don't.
Yeah.
If you have sick hours and you can use them, all you have to do is tell your employer, I'm fucking sick and I'm going to be home for 3 days. And if you have the hours, they're not supposed to ask.
That's
I
incredible.
mean, because they're paid. You've earned them.
That's cool, Keely. I posted that because people might want to try that. So Karen says, Moxie got me hooked on the Talenti gelato. I just eat a whole container, 930 calories. Let me tell you something about that. Had no idea what it was. I was at Publix yesterday, and there was someone there doing Instacart, and they were literally like taking one of each flavor and putting it in the basket. And I was like, and I noticed they had like the Instacart thing on. I'm like, what's up? And they were like, this person literally orders one of every flavor every week. It's Sean. It's like, have you ever heard of it? It's flying off
gelato?
The shelf. It's like what is it? It's like a sorbet.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's like super. I don't know exactly what it was, but people are buying it like crazy. Gelato and sorbet. Is it a taste that makes it better than ice cream, or is it less calories? What is it? No dairy? I guess no dairy, right? That might be what it is. Yeah, it could have been Moxie's order, and they've got all kinds of flavors. They've got
That was Moxie's order. Yeah.
Any kind
and
of.
Karen's over there making her own gelato, so it's like Karen's I've got 4 shelves.
24 empty containers in a freezer full. See, that's what I apparently it's.
Moxie, send those to Karen and she'll fill them up for you. I'm sure she's got something.
I'm gonna have to. They said the absolute one that everybody wants is the caramel vanilla swirl. So maybe we'll have to try it.
Yeah.
Sean doesn't eat ice cream unless he's at his parents' house, and then he accepts the ice cream. But if I offer him ice cream here, he doesn't want the ice cream.
There's a lot of things that when I'm around my mother,
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. If I had bought 13 things of ice cream, you'd be like, no, I'm good.
It's kind of true. It's like the setting. Like if we're celebrating at my parents' house and we all sit around for a meal, and then dessert is the next course, then yeah. But you're right. I'm really not digging it unless.
And you know what flavor he likes? But then he didn't eat it when we got it, but it's whatever. What was it? Pistachio almond?
No, coffee.
No. But we bought the pistachio.
I didn't like
almond.
that though.
But you said you liked it.
I was wrong. I like coffee ice cream, or I like just regular vanilla.
And tapioca. He would do great in like a skilled nursing home, because that's all they eat is like tapioca and coffee ice cream and shit like that.
I had to. I ducked my head into a memory care.
Okay, Keely. Yeah.
And wow.
Recently?
I mean, yeah. Last couple days working.
Oh. Okay,
and,
gotcha.
I ducked in, and it.
Did it smell?
No, but you can tell that when anybody walks through the door, the residents.
Yeah.
They're seeing something. They're seeing something different.
Yeah.
And it hit me a certain kind of way. It's just be super respectful to older folks that are, that don't have all the faculties that they used to, because they're older. Just treat them with respect, because they know. They know, if you go, they know that they're either are there because their needs are greater than their family can give, or they don't have family that they have family that don't care. But just be super respectful, because I mean, they're the ones that held it down when we were growing up.
Yep.
They were the ones that held it down when we were growing up. And if you sit down and you can, it's just give them 5 or 10 minutes of your time, you'll learn something.
Yeah.
You'll learn something. That's my experience.
No, I absolutely agree. The one that I used to hate was, I love working in memory care, but there were people who would sit on the couch by the door all day long, and their relatives would come visit, but of course they weren't constantly there, and they would wait right there all dressed, waiting for them to come.
The latest thing that I've learned is, and I learned it from Dad. My dad will be 84 years old here in a couple weeks, and they know, his words to me were like, look, old people, they know what they have to do to keep their bodies healthy, which is basically exercise and keeping it moving, and then they can't. because their body won't allow them to move and exercise and keep their heart as strong as it needs to be. And so that's the catch-22, is because they know what they have to do to get healthy or to stay healthy, and they can't physically do it anymore. And that was that hit. I got that. It's like, if I know when my back starts hurting, I probably need to lose 10 pounds. I go out and I lose 10 pounds. I just watch what I eat, or I just exercise, or I do a little more. But what about when I can't anymore?
Right. Yeah.
What about when I can't?
You really don't see you don't see many in those long-term care facilities like the skilled nursing. You don't see obese people. They don't. My Wax Boss, really. She said her mother has a great care team. I love when I'm working there. When I had a CNA in Texas, that was what I worked in, and I loved it. And then that's what I do with private care.
And she also said,
yes,
Wax Box said, Mandy, my mom has dementia. That was her next one. So Mandy knows about that. So I've seen her at work, like I'll go over and kind of watch her. She's amazing. But when Wax Boss, when she says her mother has an amazing care team, that's what she means. It's like that's good, because not everybody does have a good team.
No. My thing, with nursing homes and with daycares, my suggestion is always the same. Go at random times. Don't ever let them know when you're going to be there. Go in the middle of the night, do a pop-in if you can. That's the best way to see what goes on, is if they expect you, and people have to go when they can go, but if you go every Sunday at noon, then every Sunday at noon, they know Mrs. Clark's family is going to be there. So whatever. And I know I have never been in one where there was any sort of mistreatment or anything ever. And I know it happens, but I've never been in one. And I've been in state run. I've been in VA nursing. I mean, I've been in all of them. But it really does make a difference who they hire. And most of these corporate things that have bought these things where they opened up as someone opened one. Well, there's corporate entities that come and buy them once they get going. They're understaffed, and they don't have to be. Right. They are paid very well for the residents to be in these. They underpay their staff, and they don't have enough. And I don't get that. But I guess it's like every other, they want to make the money the most that they can or whatever. A lot of them, the one that I worked at was something like $9,000 a month, and that's not even the high end.
Yeah, I think that there's two things that really get my blood boiling, and one of them is abuse to the elderly. That
yes, right.
Even more now than more now than when I'm growing up. It hits you, and I, when now that I'm in my 50s, and I just went through being around my friend and trying to support my friend that lost her dad, and I keep thinking about how difficult it must be. And then I realized that most of us will go through that. Yeah. Most of us at some point. And
I was telling you yesterday that never in my life did my mind ever wrap around the fact that eventually my parents would get elderly. And that never, that just wasn't a thing. My grandparents are old, my parents are not. Right. They're just always going to be there. And there's just stuff you have to come to terms with as you get older that you really don't want to. But people have been doing it forever.
For a long time.
But I always tell families and stuff when I'm working with them, all of the observations and knowledge is out the window when it's my family. You know what I mean? Like, you can be, professional and help and tell people, what to expect or what. But when it's your family, there's no playbook.
Right.
There's none.
Because they have been, your rock for so long. Like,
right.
I always know that, and I went through it. Many you guys know I would go to Atlanta, and even now I know that if everything goes to shit, I can always go home. I can always go to their house and regroup for a couple days and then go. Not go and stay for years like some people do.
Yeah.
But just go home and regroup. I mean, there's no. It's like unconditional.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen's going through Dad has forgotten how he met my mom or when they met. It's so sad. That to me is one of the hardest things to watch. My mom had dementia. Dorothy says 9 siblings. We're lucky we could keep her home and made a plan to rotate being there. That's what we've talked about, Lake. We would just a problem is with dementia, at some point they start wandering. They don't have the same sleep schedule. They get up, they wander, they can go outside. It's not always the case, but it is sometimes. And if you've got family to take shifts, you know what I mean? That is huge. But some people have the means to hire a couple really good caregivers that can do 12 and 12.
Right.
Usually you need 3 because there's going to need to be days off.
Yeah.
But the wandering is the biggest thing. The reason that people have to, you know, if they don't, you know, they have to put them somewhere safe if they just can't watch the 24 hours. Moxie was talking about putting cameras in. My understanding, because I've looked in the state of Georgia, because I've been asked, I believe you can put nanny cams, which are cameras and teddy bears and things like that, in your relative's room in a nursing home. And I do not think they have to know that it's there. Double check that.
Yeah.
But I think you're allowed to do it without telling them that it's there. I don't know if that's every
There's
state.
some atrocities going on out there.
I tell you what, someone mistreats one of my relatives and I see it on the camera, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of times when people say, "I'll go to jail for this," or "I'll go in front of the judge," you know, and they're like, "No, you wouldn't."
Right.
But something about, you know, seeing your parents, and then the other thing is babies, you know, toddlers. When you see daycare things that go wrong, yeah, I'm pretty sure that I would go to that ass on somebody.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that Stitching said, what percentage of them turn violent? The main thing that I've seen when they're combative and they're violent is when they're being challenged.
Yeah.
They get frustrated if you're trying to, and look, sometimes you have to try because it's something that has to do with safety or their cleanliness. But if you are, you know, banging your head against the wall, trying to convince them of something or make them do something, that's when they get combative. But it just depends. I have noticed that the people that get the most combative and the most are people that had careers where they had to be nice. Flight attendants, school teachers, all different kinds of, you know, a hotel desk worker, things where they had to be nice. Something happens and they're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend the rest of my life telling everybody about themselves.
Yep.
And they fight. The one story, I'll leave it at this, and I don't know if I've told, when I worked in memory care, there was a guy that was in there who had come from assisted living, but his needs became so great that he had to be there. And there was another lady there. She was single. She was a widow, but she was attractive. But he was always trying to kiss on her, and she was okay with it. But he would hold her hand and he would kiss on her. His wife was still in assisted living. She hadn't moved over yet. And people were like, you know, we have to understand that they are adults. We're here to watch them. So he would do it, and everybody would go, he doesn't know it's not his wife, just whatever. Well, let me tell you something. When the wife finally moved over to the it wasn't all memory care, it was skilled nursing too. When the wife moved over, all of a sudden he knew exactly who his wife was, and he wasn't kissing on that girl anymore. I was like, isn't that miraculous?
Once a player, always a player, I guess.
She moved over and he wasn't confused anymore. He knew exactly who his wife was.
Yoga is like father-in-law in a home, and he has dementia, but not formally diagnosed.
Yeah.
We're having huge issues with other residents walking into his room.
That's so common.
And taking his things when the care team asks if he's okay with someone being in his room. My father-in-law doesn't have the capacity to say no, so they don't do anything about it.
That's really, there's this whole thing of respecting people where they are. That is very, very common, coming and taking things. What they should be doing is just going back into the other person's room and getting it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why people leave nothing of value. But when they're taking family pictures to their rooms and things like that, that's when it becomes a problem.
There's a couple of things that and I've heard Mandi talking to families or on the phone, you know, when she's negotiating a contract or whatever. And the two things is, the first thing that Mandi does that I think they like is she will meet them where they are.
That's what Moxie just said.
Yeah, you have to meet them where they are. You don't have the same history with a client.
No.
You know, so you don't have the same, you know, the communication is different. You meet them right where they are. That's number one. And number two to the family is none of this is personal.
None of it.
Nothing that's happening with this person's condition is personal. It's not personal.
Because they'll say things to the caregivers like, my family never visits, and they're there all the time. Or my family has spent all of my money, I'm broke, and they're not. And they don't do it to be nasty or to be vengeful. It's just what happens. It's just what they do. There was when I used to show up at the one house, She had congestive heart failure, and sometimes they have such a low oxygen when they're in the last stages of it that they hallucinate, and they've got a dementia that could be related to the lack of oxygen and the poor blood flow and things like that. Every day when I got there, she thought she was getting ready for school.
Wow.
And if you tried to make her eat breakfast and no, we're not going to school, I didn't do that because that's what, the family had done, and it didn't work. We would sit there for an hour and a half and get ready for school. And by the time we sat down from breakfast, she'd already changed gears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they're so much happier if you just meet them where they are.
Yeah.
With safety in mind, though. And there's also one lady that bathing is such a huge struggle, especially for families. They just can't get them to bathe. They can't get them to let them. They can't get them to. This one lady, I worked for months in trying to get her. And finally one day I said, like the beauty shop. Well, the bathroom can be like the beauty shop. And she went, I like the beauty shop. And I said, okay. And we went in there and she showered and I helped her wash her hair. And that was how I figured out to get her is it's time for the beauty shop. And we would go in there and wash her hair. I don't know what beauty shops she went to where you got stark naked. But I mean, hey, it's anybody's. We would wash her up and that's what worked for her. But yeah, you're right, Moxie. Meet them where they are. Don't argue with them about things that they're no longer able to retain.
I think another thing about that I learned from Mandy is that when she's in a contract, she tells me, it's like she's left a couple contracts and it's like, you don't know when the work is done. You don't never know when the work is done. There's not like, oh, this is my last 2 weeks and we're going to do this and that. So suddenly,
a lot of times,
whether that person goes into, an inpatient or whether the family doesn't want you or need you or for whatever the reason, you've got to be able to just cut sling load and you're done.
Yep. And a lot of times you don't
get to say goodbye.
You don't know how much money they have. You don't know when it's going to start running out for them. And they're not going to tell you, hey, I'm just going to let you know when you get hired, she's got about 9 months of money that we can pay for because nobody's, it's a competitive field. There are a lot of private caregivers, but most of the time what happens is they start to rely on money and then they'll say, Mom is going to have to go to a facility. Dad is going to have to go to a facility. We just can't do the private care anymore. And I get that.
Sometimes that's not even the truth. They're just looking at their inheritance being spent.
That is money, just like in every other area, money is the root of some of the corrosions of families.
I try so hard, and I'm pretty good at it, that whatever of the estate that I get. I have never tried to put a number on it. Mandy knows this. I've never tried to get into a position where I say, well, we're going to do this, or I'm going to do, or this is how, because you never know what situation is going to come up in their life where they're going to have to spend it. It's not yours. It's not yours until it's yours.
That is so true too. Some families, as they start, their parents enter the final stage, they look at it as their money. And they don't even want to look at it as, it just happens. And then the siblings are getting involved and it just becomes...
People coming out of the woodwork that didn't have a whole lot to do with the family all of a sudden are around. And it's like, hey, it's like, you're here for your cut. Well, and what I've seen is there's so many families that assume there's X amount of money in the estate. And then when they find out there's not, they say, oh, well, there's $1 million in the estate. And then when the estate comes and they figure out there's only $400,000 or $500,000, and you're splitting it 4 ways, instead of, well, I get $250,000. Well, now all of a sudden they're only getting $100,000, or that, and that pisses them off. Yep. And it's like that was never. You shouldn't have
Moxie.
Banked on that. You shouldn't have thought that.
Right.
Because it's not your money.
It's not. And that's hard for people to understand. I don't get involved with that stuff with family because it's their business unless, the person talks about it and then I hear, but I don't. There are, just like in daycares, I did home daycare and I worked in an Army daycare center for a very long time. Let me tell you something. Those people know what's going on in your house because those little people come in and tell them.
Yep. Yeah.
So, you can keep as many secrets. There's nothing more telling than you've got a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
In daycare, they know all your shit.
Yeah, what do they
the
say?
Same with older people sometimes. They'll vent to you.
The 3 things that always tell the truth are drunk people, babies, and spandex.
That's hilarious. I've never heard that.
Children, drunks, and spandex. The truth always comes out.
Yeah, that's awesome, Moxie. You see Moxie's. I knew she did research. I didn't know it was in. That's awesome. Our VA doesn't even keep an eye on the patients. 3, though they thought they were missing, end up. Oh, it happens a lot. It happens a lot. I used to be a caregiver for a retired general when I was in Austin. A very, very nice facility. Very, very expensive. Probably of all of them, the worst care that I saw. Not abusive or anything like that, but trust me, sometimes it's not about the money.
Yeah.
Okay. But his wife had dementia, and I would walk with him to have lunch with her. They screwed him over. They bought into one of these things where you start out in independent living, and then you go to assisted, and then you can be in skilled nursing, and you pay a ton of money. Y'all have seen them. They're probably in your area. They have little senior cottages, but then they'll have like a memory care and a skilled nursing and an assisted living. He paid an unbelievable amount of money to buy into it so he could be with his wife and whatever. Well, they put him on skilled nursing because his needs were more, and they put her in memory care because for safety reasons, anybody with dementia has to be in memory care. So they were on different floors and had to have escorts to go see each other. It was awful. Anyways, she had dementia. One day they had a fire drill, and they're supposed to be ready because if there is a fire drill, they unlock all the doors. Every employee is responsible for their residents and to count and do whatever. His wife was walking down the street. She went right out through she came down out of memory care, went through the beauty shop, and was walking down the street.
That's what Moxie said. She said that she was driving home from an assignment out of town. I drove past an elderly guy walking down the street with a suit, and I thought, wow, he looks familiar. He was a patient of ours that escaped.
Yeah. They'll catch the door. A family member will leave, and they can catch the door, and they'll be out too. And it happens at daycares too.
Yeah.
But anyways, she took off, and she was
said,
gone.
I'm out of here.
She was like, and they went to go, the beauty salon person saw her and was walking after her and was like, Mrs. did it. And she was like, I'm going this way.
I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, he was so mad. He was so upset when it happened. But he said, he goes, I moved in here to be in my final years with my wife, and we're on different floors, and we're not able to be on the same floor.
Nope.
His son was like a colonel, and he was like trying to sue because he was like, they need out of this contract.
Yeah.
You can't get out of it. Just know that before you get into it.
Even if they screw up.
Yeah.
And even if they
you're tied into it. People see, I get to move into this little cottage, and then once I need more care, it's already provided for this lump sum of money. But there's things that they don't tell you. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, I don't know how we got on that, but
it's cool though.
It is. It's a passion. I really do like it.
I know, and you're good at it too.
I do like it.
You're good at it.
But you never know. The families are the worst. The patients are never the problem. The clients are never the problem. Sorry, not patients. The clients are never the problems. A lot of times it's the family. Never had a thing where the client has made me have to leave the assignment. It's the families, and they're...
Yeah, I know you used to come home. Sometimes it was close. It's like, and I'd be like, Mandy, you can't, they can't talk to you that way. And what I realize is that you look at it a little bit different. I'm like, what did they just say? But
Well, I would always make, before I left, it was very nice. I would make dinner, and they had a warmer, at the bottom, and I would leave a note, and it would be whatever I made, and I would put it in the warmer and leave a note saying when you're hungry or whatever. Well, a lot of times she didn't want to eat. If she saw the note later, she would take the food, throw it away, wash the dish, and put it up. So it came down to, they were like, she says that she's not having dinner left for her. And I'm like, you really think I wouldn't leave dinner? Like, you really think that I just... And you have to not take it personally.
You can't.
Because they're going to tell different stories when you're not...
And if they're like...
Good.
As your caretaker, when they're talking shit about their whole family and everybody in your life, they're talking shit about you to everybody else as well. And that's like that in a job. You've got that coworker or that boss or whatever, and they always want to talk to you about other people.
Right. And you're talking about me. Right, to other people.
To other people just like this, and I know this is true.
It can be applied in many areas. You're like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
There's people, the employees that love the fact that their boss, they can go tell the boss secrets. This was more at Randall's than tell the boss things and kind of be, and they think that they're just indispensable because they're this run, go tell it and keep the boss. And that boss has probably less respect for you than they do for anyone else. They're going to listen to what you say.
Some people think that if they're like, they listen to it, their boss, and they do everything, all the dirty work and all that, they think that it doesn't apply to them. What he's saying, that he wouldn't throw them completely under the bus given the chance. And it's hard because you have people at jobs that you respect them, but you know what they're doing, like being the teacher's pet or doing whatever. And you can't really go up to them and say, that's fine, you do you, but he or she will still throw you under the bus too. It doesn't matter.
They start thinking that they're not going to have it happen to them because they're so needed and they're so, and it's like, no, if it came down to it and the shit hit the fan, they wouldn't have your back.
No.
That's just how the workforce is for the most part.
Most contracting jobs though, it's hard to find a good contractor boss because that boss is, and like independent contractors or federal contracting jobs, is because they have to deal with the change.
I think eventually the post office will go contract. I don't think it's going to be
It'll
federal
have to be.
anymore.
It'll have to be. It's not getting any better. It's not getting any better.
It'll be one of the last things to go completely privatized, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to happen. Like I said, I mailed 3 weeks ago a card to my mom. Nobody knows where it went. And that's everything.
Yep.
There is this period of time that if your stuff went through Palmetto, the new distribution plant, it may be gone.
Right.
Nobody knows where this shit went.
Where did it go? I, for one, that was one of the biggest reasons that, I want the majority of the reason why I left the post office was just to have more time at home. And my physical health. My physical health, you need to have a balance or you'll wear yourself out. That's the main reason. But there's a part of me, one of the straws was that when the mail got bad at the end of February, here we are, we're in May, and it hasn't gotten better. It might have gotten a little bit better, but it's still mostly not good.
Yeah. Missy, there's so many jobs that people take that they're good. I watched Soft White Underbelly. There was a nurse that works in a prison, and she's made for it. Yep. She's a cute little blonde. She's like whatever, and she just found her thing. Yep. And she knows how to. She says the same thing. You have to give them respect to get respect. Yep. And there's a lot of people that are like, you don't owe a prisoner respect. Well, there's a lot more of them than there are of you.
I mean, most prisoners that are out in the real world, they'll know their rights. They'll never have the same rights as somebody, even if you've done your time. Because if you if you slip up, and somebody who's never been in jail has done the same thing, like a petty theft or simple assault. If you're already convicted, they're going to come down on you 10 times worse than the person that's never had a record.
Yep. And she said the same thing we all know. It's mainly all drug related. The revolving door has to do with mental illness.
Mental illness and drugs.
But what Mark said, and I didn't like it. He's the one that runs the show, Mark Ladia or whatever. He said, yeah, isn't that the truth? When you fix the mental illness, the drugs become not a problem. That is not. The addiction is gone. Like he said something to that extent. Because I almost left a comment. He said, once you address the mental illness, suddenly the drugs aren't an issue. Yet that is not 100% true.
Yeah.
It's not 100% true.
Yeah,
an addict is an addict is an addict.
Yeah.
They're different.
Well, it's like to his defense, he's not an addict.
Exactly, which is why I didn't leave a comment. I'm like, he didn't understand.
I'm in love with an addict, right? I'm in love with somebody who is an addict, and I can wrap my head around almost everything about her, because I can, but I can never see. Like I even know, I can look at certain things and say, okay, I see that, I see this, but I just can't. I could never see you in active addiction. I just can't. And that's just because of where I'm at and where I position my heart and everything. But it makes me understand a lot of other codependencies that I see with other addicts. It's like, it's different.
It's kind of it's a sick dance for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, each person is getting something out of it in this weird relationship or whatever. I would say it's the Kurt Cobain. What was that girl's name that he was with?
Courtney Love.
Courtney Love. That did Courtney Love also go with Eminem?
No.
Who was it that had his baby?
Kim Mathers.
Oh, he was never with Courtney Love?
Eminem? No.
Oh, my bad.
He probably has a lyric here and there that...
Maybe Sid and Nancy, who I'm thinking of. I saw a documentary on them, and their drug addiction was like their romance.
Yeah.
Like their...
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, it's very strange. But we are going to jump off. And thank you guys. I know, I don't know why I thought he was with Courtney Love. I'm so glad all of y'all participated in so many ways. Yeah, that's what it's about.
Thank you for Susan for joining the flock party. Chicklets, Sin, all that you see the super chats, y'all don't see the other things, the Venmos and the PayPals and stuff, but none of it is taken for granted at all.
And doesn't it? Yeah, that's if you don't understand it, you don't understand it. We're talking about still addiction.
Yeah.
So we'll see you again soon.
Yep.
And we maintained pretty good numbers considering that we didn't.
It's a pop up, and I mean,
I was pretty impressed. I'm not the numbers person, so I don't know, but
we did a little drama, but mostly not.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love you guys. We will see you next time, and have a good, be safe.
Have a great rest of your weekend. If we don't talk to you before the weekend's up, we might. We'll see.
Have a good day.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
I never do that very smoothly, do